Hey guys, it's Brendan. Welcome to a new edition of the Master Game. Today I'm going to be looking at a game of Bobby Fischer's. So I've done one Bobby Fischer game in this Master Game collection already, and you can see that on the channel under the Master Game playlist. So this was a game that Bobby Fischer played versus Pal Benko in the U.S. Championships of 1963. So some of you may not know who Pal Benko is. He was a very, very strong, I think he was a Hungarian-born, but emigrated to America, grandmaster. He won or shared in 8 U.S. championships, and some of those were where he shared first place with Bobby Fischer. He had some success in the candidates matches in like the mid-60s and late 50s or something. And some of you may not know that because of Fischer's withdrawing from tournaments and various antics in the 1970 interzonal for the World Championship candidates matches, Pal Benko was actually supposed to be the representative from the U.S. or whatever zone that the United States was a part of, and he gave his spot up so that Fischer could go play, and of course Fischer won the candidates matches brilliantly and ended up winning the title in 1972. Let's see what else. Benko's famous for popularizing the Benko opening with 1G3, and of course the Benko Gambit. So it's a little bit about Pal Benko. So let's get to this game. It was 1E4 from Fischer, G6, the modern defense from Benko. We soon get a Pirc though after D4, Bishop G7, Knight C3, D6, F4, and Knight F6. We've transferred into a Pirc, specifically the Austrian attack, which is where White sets up these pawns on D4, E4, F4, and it's just basically looking to attack Black on the king side and push with either E5 or F5, sort of blow Black off the board on the king side, sort of in Fischer's style. So this opening probably suits his style pretty well. So Knight F3, castles, Bishop D3, Bishop G4, H3, just looking to get the bishop there. So Benko cedes the bishop pair, Bishop E3, and now E5, blockading the center, staking a claim in the center, and after D takes E5, D takes E5, Fischer played F5. So looking for a kingside attack, maybe looking to get the bishop here at some point and exchange bishops off in some way, with maneuvers like queen here to here. This didn't all happen in the game, but this would be stuff that I'd be thinking about. Almost Grand Prix attacks, Sicilian style type of attacks. So Pal here played a move that I would never play, but maybe it's okay. He played G takes F5, and after Queen takes F5, Knight D4. Black gets a tempo on the queen, gets this knight to this nice square D4. He's given up the bishop pair, but he does have a blockade on the E4 point, which means it could be hard for this pawn to ever advance to unleash itself on this point here. And this pawn on E4 is an isolated pawn and a weak pawn for White. So anyway, Fischer calmly plays Queen F2, Knight E8. This knight wants to come in here to D6, where it puts pressure on the weak pawn on E5. Can't argue too much with that. Castles, and the knight came into D6. So now Fischer goes on a little queen maneuver. He plays Queen G3, which is pinning the pawn pinning the bishop to the king and threatening Bishop H6, which would be threatening checkmate. And the bishop won't be able to take because of the pin. So Benko sidesteps the pin. Queen G4. Now C6 from Benko, just taking control of this D5 square. So the knight can't hop into this nice D5 square. He could have had ideas maybe of Knight D5 coming into F6, attacking ideas like that. You never know. So Queen H5, and now it starts to get a little bit dangerous. The threat for Black is to play. If Black should do nothing here, he should do something like Rook C8. Then Bishop takes D4. Pawn takes D4 and E5. This bishop is unleashed, and pieces are coordinating on the point here, and there's no time for something like f5 or anything like that to block out the bishop, because, well, this knight is hanging, or you could just even play rook takes probably. And the problem is, say the move something like h6 comes in here. Well, this knight can just move away, and now this knight can't move away from the square that it's on, d6, because it would be no longer covering this f5 square. And if this queen could get into f5 and create this battery, say something like this, well, this is just checkmate, and there's no way to stop the queen and the bishop coming in here onto this square. So this would just be losing a piece because the knight can't move, and he would have to find some other way, something like f5, and then just takes, and white is up a piece, and that's just game over. So that's the threat associated with this move, queen to h5. So Benko comes up with what seems to be an interesting defensive plan. He plays queen e8, and the point of this move, queen e8, is that after bishop takes d4, pawn takes d4, e5, black has this defense f5, because now on f5, there's no time for white to take the knight or to take the pawn because his queen is hanging. So this is the defensive mechanism that Benko had envisioned from playing this move, queen e8. But he missed a move, an incredible tactic that I didn't see, and a computer finds immediately, but it's amazing tactic for a human. Fischer played bishop takes d4, e takes d4, and now an unbelievable tactical shot, rook f6. What's the point of this rook f6 move? Well, it just simply stops f5. As long as there's a piece blockading this f5 point, then white can carry on his plan of moving the d pawn and attacking, moving the e pawn and attacking f7. So what are the options for black here? Taking the rook just loses, because if bishop takes rook, then just e5, and there's absolutely no way to defend against the mate here. You'd have to do something ridiculous, like just put the knight in the way just to stave off mate for a few moves, and h6, but it's hopeless. So that's out of the question. What other options are there? Well, if the knight gets taken, of course there's this e5 move again, and well, there's nothing really to do here, because after h6, well, white can just play bishop takes h6, and this is mating, and it's all just pretty bad for white here. So Benko tried the move after rook f6. Benko tried the move king g8, now e5, h6, hoping that if white takes this knight, then he can just counter-take the knight and can live to fight another day. But in reality, there's no hope, because Fischer just played the move knight e2, and after this move knight e2, Benko resigned, because there's no way for him to save this knight, because of the same earlier mechanism that we thought that came before in some other variations. There was if the knight moves, then the queen comes in here to f5. So something like this. The queen comes in here to f5, and there's no way to stop the mate here on h7. So an amazing tactic by Fischer. Let's just go over this game in summary here. We had an Austrian attack in the Pirc with the white square bishop getting traded for the knight on f3, and now after these exchanges and f takes, we're left with an isolated pawn position. Knight d4, queen f2, here, knight d6, queen g3, king h8, queen g4, c6, and queen h5. Maybe a better try for Benko would have been just to play the move knight to e6 here, just keeping the blockade, the black pawn stopping this pawn from going forward. And the computer said this was slightly better for white, like a pawn advantage for white. Much better for white, actually, but it would be much better than the game plan that he played. Of course, there's no bishop takes anymore to make the pawn have to move. So, but anyway, he played queen e8, hoping for bishop takes, e5, f5, and this mode of defense. But after bishop takes d4, e takes d4, Benko, and who can really blame him for missing this one, but missed the tactic, rook f6. And after this, the game is just over. There's no way. The only way to play on and not get mated is the way that Benko did, which was just losing a piece. So, knight e2, and the game ended here. So, win for Bobby Fischer in a great game, a great attacking game, and a very interesting and awesome tactic, rook f6. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed that game, and we'll see you next time.